What if our entire definition of greatness is completely upside down? Well, today we're going to dig into a daily devotional that argues exactly that. It offers this really radical take on leadership and purpose, and it all boils down to one core idea: service. So let's break it down. So let's just start with the huge question this whole text is built around. I mean, what does it actually mean to be great? Is it about money, status, being famous? It's a question people have been asking forever, and the source material we're looking at today has a very, very specific answer. And right away, the devotional sets up this powerful contrast. You've got the world's view on one side. Greatness is all about power, status, getting that recognition. But then, it presents this kingdom view that just flips it on its head. In this view, greatness is found in humility, in service, and in always putting other people first. Alright, so let's dive into that first part, redefining what greatness even is. How does this devotional build this totally different model of leadership? Well, it all kicks off with a really foundational piece of scripture. This quote from the Gospel of Matthew, this is the bedrock for the entire message. And you've got to notice the specific words here. Greatness is tied directly to being a minister, and being the chief is linked to being a servant. It's a total, deliberate inversion of how we normally think about power. And this whole philosophy, it actually has a name: servant leadership. The idea is super simple, but also really profound. True leadership isn't about how many people are serving you. It's about how many people you are serving. It completely shifts the focus from what you can get to what you can give. You know, this distinction is absolutely key to what the devotional is trying to say. It reframes service from being just another task, another thing on your to-do list, to being a calling. So what does that really mean? To see service not as something you do, but as a fundamental part of who you are. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how do you actually translate that into your everyday life? Well, the next part of the devotional is all about that, turning this belief into real, tangible action. So the devotional lays out this clear 3-step game plan. First, you actively start looking for chances to serve, wherever you are. Second, and this is crucial, you do it with the right heart, with simplicity and humility. And third, you actually ask for guidance to see where you can be the biggest blessing. It's the cycle of seeing, feeling, and then doing. And this line right here, it's pulled straight from a prayer in the devotional. It really hammers home the point that your internal attitude, that simple and humble heart, is every bit as important as the external act of serving. The goal is for the action to be a real, authentic reflection of what's going on inside. Now, while the devotional gives you these daily practices, it also points towards something much deeper, a more foundational kind of commitment. And this is all wrapped up in what the text calls a prayer of salvation, which is basically a way to formalize your belief in the core principles that are driving this whole worldview. And these are the core tenets that prayer is built on. If you put them all together, they kind of form the theological engine for the entire message. The idea here is that the act of service isn't just a nice thing to do. It's meant to be an outward expression of this internal framework of belief and faith. But this framework of belief, it isn't just for individuals. It's actually the foundation for a whole global community. So let's take a look at the organization behind this devotional and its much, much broader mission. You see, this devotional is part of a much larger initiative, and its name alone tells you the scale of their ambition. Operation 500 Million Souls for Christ. So yeah, the scale is definitely global, and the focus is clearly on outreach. The organization offers 3 really distinct ways for people to get involved. You can provide spiritual support as a prayer partner, you can offer physical service as a volunteer missionary, or you can give financial backing as what they call a kingdom investor. And this commitment to prayer is actually coordinated worldwide. I mean, just look at this. They've set up these synchronized prayer times across all these different time zones, which really fosters a sense of a connected, global community, all focused on the same thing. And to keep that global connection strong, the organization, the Ambassadors Elite World Outreach Inc., is all over the digital space. They're active on everything from messaging apps like WhatsApp and Telegram to huge social platforms like Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. They're basically meeting their community right where they are online. This quote really just captures the essence of their whole community's purpose, doesn't it? It's a unifying call to action that neatly summarizes their main activities: praying together, growing personally and spiritually, and of course, global outreach. And finally, the devotional puts all of these actions, the service, the prayer, the community, inside a much larger context. Everything is framed as a way of preparing for the return of Jesus Christ, which gives a real sense of ultimate purpose and, frankly, urgency to the whole mission. So this leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. This text presents a model of leadership that's built entirely on service. So now, think about the communities you're a part of, at work, in your neighborhood, even online. How do they define leadership? And what role, if any, does service play? It's a pretty powerful way to look at the world around us. Thanks for joining me for this breakdown.